So before I import my assets, I want to tell you a little bit about this timeline here. This warning color right now is set to about 6.5 seconds. I can take this scroll bar here at the bottom and I can drag the handle and I can change it so I can see a lot more time on my timeline. That's over 6 minutes. It doesn't change the length of time that warning color is showing. So one of the first things I'd like you to do is give us about a minute of the warning color. You can drag this and look at this timeline. You can drag on the blue number. You can even type things in precisely. This is the only asset that I want you to make longer. Don't do that with any of your pictures. But now I can see about 1 minute's worth of time on my timeline. We're going to use this to build on. I'm going to go to File, Import, and import the entire My Favorite Assets folder at the same time. It's going to go through and import those JPEGs very easily. When it gets to the Photoshop, we're going to tell it not to merge all those layers together, but to keep them as individual layers. The layers that were visible when it was last saved will have those check marks. We want all the layers. Notice how the names are going to really help me know what goes with what. When I click OK, I'm going to get a folder here of My Favorite Assets. If I open the folder, you can see my images and you can see my individual PNG exports of the titles. I'm going to set those aside by creating a folder and call those PNG titles. I can move those in there one at a time, or I can see more of them, click and drag, select the other three, and drag them in there. So I have them in a special place. They've got their own folder now. I'm going to build my timeline by starting with those. There are other ways of doing it, but let's start with this. Here's my intro. I'm going to drag and drop it right here at the very beginning of the video 2 track. When I move my laser pointer, current time indicator, right here you can see that I have 5 seconds of my intro. The next thing that's going to show in our video is the image for our first category. You don't want any gaps there, and you don't want to grab these and make them longer or shorter. Now I can show my first picture, Honduras. Now I know that I've got my first 3 here. This is why it was so important to name them. By selecting the first 3, I can drag and drop them right there. One of the things you're noticing is that these are snapping to. So if I move this around, it'll jump to things that it guesses we want. If you accidentally turn this magnet off, it will no longer have that snap to. Make sure that stays on. I'm going to go ahead and get my second category and put it right there and scrub. I'm going to scrub through here, just look at first 2 categories, 1, 2, 3 pictures, and yes, they're very zoomed in. Don't worry about it. We're going to fix that. But for right now, we're just building our timeline. The next 3 pictures are snack pictures. Notice I'm having a little trouble seeing those. I'm going to make this a lot bigger because I don't really care to see the preview yet. I just want to get to my pictures 4, 5, and 6. I just want to get to my pictures 4, 5, and 6 and put them on the timeline. Take my last category and then my 7, 8, and 9. Now notice that at 5 seconds each, my warning color isn't quite long enough. So I'm going to make sure it extends for the full duration of my images. I've got my whole timeline planned out, and next we'll scale those pictures down so they fit in our preview window. Once again, Window Workspace, reset your workspace right here. It'll go back to the default editing workspace. I'm inside my captions there, and I'm going to go back up. So I've got folder with captions, folder with my assets, a warning color, and this very important master sequence. If it gets closed, double click on the little picture and it'll come right back.